short, and here comes the stuff. Back to Penix across the field. It worked on this. Ellis running, pitches it backwards, loose, and covered up by Ohio State.
But I wanna walk on. If I can't find them, you know I'm gonna stalk them. Posse tape up on the scene, I had to white talk them. Running from my gun, but my bullets had to hawk them. Posted in front of the tribe, selling dope till the sun come down. Take niggas right off the map.
What a turnaround.
When I hit them with this one
Pat Fitzgerald of Northwestern.
Okay, quick, before the video starts, I just filmed a 20-minute segment of this video just talking about the top 10 and the college football playoff. If you do not care about that and you just want to see the picks, skip to 26 minutes into the video. Just go to the bottom, scroll down to the 26-minute mark, and click there if you are only interested in the picks. If you're interested in the top 10 and what I have to ramble on about, then that's what you have to look forward to coming up right now. Hello and welcome to week 12 of the college football season. We need to start with a recap of last week. Last week, I set out a list of, 12-ish teams that I said were your 2020 playoff contenders. Well, the Grim Reaper made his round on Saturday, and we lost two teams from that respective category. One, you could say already was eliminated, Oklahoma State. They needed a long shot to get into the playoff. They went out and they got embarrassed. I mean embarrassed by their main rival and just owner, Oklahoma. Man, Gundy comes out and just lays an egg. Their quarterback didn't look great. Their offense didn't look great. Their defense gave up 41 points. It was just an all-around nightmare. So sorry, Big 12, your season's over. And this one makes me sad. Indiana. Man, I thought they could do it. I thought they could do it. I really did. They were down 35-7. They came all the way back. They made it within 7 points, and they just they couldn't get the final drive. So who's your daddy? Sorry, we're gonna have to say goodbye to you this week. Thank you for playing. Indiana will make it to a really good bowl. I promise you that. This could be one of the best seasons Indiana has ever had. And they're going in the right direction as a program. I think Michael Penix will be back next season. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But what we're going to do is I'm going to make a top 10. If you are not interested in my top 10 rankings, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, skip to the timestamp I put at the beginning of the video if you only want to see the picks. This is going to be a long video, but I'm going to make my own top 10 rankings. The college football playoff rankings come out Tuesday, the first ones from this new committee. I think it's a new group of people, which I'm glad to hear. The committee in past years has angered me. I think the top 10 for the AP poll was Bama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Clemson, Texas A&M, Florida, Cincy, BYU, Miami, and I forget who was 10. Who was 10? I forget. Oh, I think Oregon was 10. I think Oregon was 9 and Miami was 10. Anyway, it doesn't matter because Oregon and Miami are not in my top 10. Yes, the only top 10 that matters, mine. Let's get into my rankings. Number 10. Coming out of the Big Ten, a new challenger has appeared in the college football scene. They are putting the world on notice. Pat Fitzgerald and the Northwestern Wildcats. They appear in my top 10. They are ranked number 10 in the QBS Power Rankings. I love what Pat Fitzgerald has been doing. Hasn't he been? He's been there for forever. He was a player back all those years ago. Now he's a coach. He is the best coach in college football, and I'll tell you why. He has done more with less. Think about it. Northwestern isn't a national power. They're just not. And Pat Fitzgerald has brought this team back from the dead. They were 3 and off year last year, 3-9. They are out for a vengeance this year. This defense they have is legit. They held Tua's little brother to 3 points. They beat Maryland 43-3. Maryland goes out, puts up 40+ their next 2 games. Wisconsin out here scoring 40+ points a game with Graham Mertz. Someone made a video that said Graham Mertz is going to win the Heisman. Okay. Hells holds him to 7 points. They win 17-7 over Wisconsin. They're ranked in my top 10. Love what Northwestern's doing. They've clinched their division pretty much. Does anyone think Northwestern's going to lose 2 games? No, they don't. Coming in at the number 9 spot. A lot of people love this team. I have question marks about them, but they're 9-0, the BYU Cougars. A lot of people looking at you, Cole Adams, think that they should be in the college football playoff. I don't know. We'll have to see when it's all said and done. They went out and they whooped up on something called North Alabama, 66-14. Not many teams are out here beating teams by 52 points. They're just not. The problem with BYU is who had they played? Who had they played? No one good. Their best win is Boise State with their 3rd-string quarterback. I think I should tell you something. They are going to have an opportunity to play some Pac-12 teams. Like, I think Washington challenged them to a game, and they said no because they wanted to see where they were at in the college football playoff rankings. That sounds like a bunch of BS to me. I think they're scared. But they put out a tweet that said any team, anywhere. So I don't know if BYU's ranked in the top 10, which I'm pretty sure they will be. Will they have a game against Washington coming up? I don't know. They might. They might not. But I have BYU at number 9. Number 8, this is a team that I like a lot, even though they struggled a bit last week. Desmond Ridder and the Cincinnati Bearcats. I like this team a lot. Their defense is legit. They have a legit defense. They do not allow a lot of points. Desmond Ridder's a stud. Do they have a chance to make the playoff? I think they have. If there's going to be a non-Power 5 team to ever make the playoff ever, it's got to be Cincinnati or BYU this year. It just has to be. It's a COVID season. A lot of crazy stuff's going to happen. They have been throwing opponents through the wood chipper. And some legit teams, too. SMU. Who else do they beat? UCF they beat. There are some legit teams in the American. I like what Cincinnati's got going. At number 7, this is where I'm going to lose some people. I know it's where I'm going to lose some people, but I got to stick true to myself. They are the best. This is the last group of 5 team. I'm a group of 5 guy. I just am. I like the little schools. I love what this team has been doing. I called Oklahoma State mullet in the video. Well, this team is the real mullet. They are South Carolina's team. It's not South Carolina. It's not South Carolina. It's not Clemson. It's not North Carolina. It's not App State. The Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. They went out and they beat App State yesterday. They have locked up the Sun Belt's Eastern Division, and they will be heading to their conference championship game. They have a win over a ranked Louisiana Lafayette. They have a win over a very good App State team, and I think their resume is better than BYU and Cincinnati. What I like to look at is what is your best win? Well, their best win is against a ranked Louisiana Lafayette team who beat Iowa State, who beat Oklahoma, so they're doing really well in that regard. Cincinnati's best win is against a top 25 SMU who went out and choked a 21-point lead to Tulsa. And BYU, their best win is over Boise State. I love what Coastal Carolina's got cooking. Grayson McCall is one of the most mobile quarterbacks in all of college football. He is a freshman. Repeat, freshman. Yeah, they're legit. Give me South Carolina's team. All right, now we get into the big boys. These 4, I think, all have a chance to make the playoff. I think Northwestern has the best chance. But we'll have to see about them. Coming in at number 6, I have Clemson. A lot of people are going to be a little annoyed that I am putting them a little bit lower, but here's the thing, all right? All of my top 6 teams, from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of those teams, they have beaten a top 10 team. They have. They've beaten a top 10 team. Clemson has beaten a top 10 team in Miami. Say what you want about Miami and how good they are, but I have some serious questions about Clemson. Their defense looked pretty bad against Notre Dame. They gave up 43 points in regulation, plus 14 in overtime. So I do not know. They were supposed to play against Florida State yesterday, but apparently they had one. Here's something I want to talk about. Clemson had one positive COVID case, and they said this guy was symptomatic all week, but they said he tested negative throughout the week, so he was on the flight to the game or whatever. But apparently once they got in the hotel, they got their most recent tests back, and this guy was positive. And Florida State cancels the game. Now, I don't want to go out here talking about I don't want to joke about coronavirus. Coronavirus is a real deal. I'm not gonna make any coronavirus. But you gotta think. People are saying that Florida State forfeited the game because they knew they were just going to get absolutely drugged up and down their field for 3 straight hours, which is what was going to happen. There's no way Florida State was winning that game. And I mean, if Florida State's just a dumpster fire, they've got all their best players are quitting. They're just a dumpster fire of a team. I don't know. Is it beyond the realm of possibility? No. Is it what happened? Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that game got canceled. Clemson misses out on their free win. Number 5, I have the Florida Gators. They have a win over a top 10 Georgia team at the time. Top 10 Georgia team. They've been looking great. Kyle Trask is right now who I would vote for if I had to vote for who won the Heisman. I would pick Kyle Trask. He has been playing absolutely phenomenal. That man Kyle Pitts, that man Kadarius Toney, they are 2 legit receiving threats. I know Kyle Pitts is a tight end, but you're picking up what I'm throwing down. The Florida Gators are looking absolutely phenomenal. Give me them at number 5. At number 4, I have Ohio State. Yes. They've got some questions they have to answer, like their secondary. They gave up 400 yards to Michael Penix in Indiana through the air. Their rush defense is like top 5 in the country, but their pass defense is so bad. It's terrible. It's awful how bad their pass defense was. I have some serious questions about Ohio State moving forward. Our team is going to be able to pass the ball at will against them. I don't know. I think they're not going to lose another game throughout the regular season. Who do they still have to play? Michigan State, Michigan. 2 easy wins. Both those teams are just jokes. But when they play Northwestern and a defense that can maybe shut down Justin Fields, I mean, Northwestern, they're looking like a legit team. I don't know, but right now I have Ohio State at 4. Got to give them credit for that win over our top 10 Indiana. Although they did not do it in convincing fashion. Justin Fields played himself out of the Heisman, by the way. He won't win the Heisman because he's not going to be playing enough games, and he had a terrible game, that game. At number 3, this is where I'm going to lose some people. I'm going to lose some people at number 6. No, I'm losing people at 7, and I'm losing people at 3, all right? At 3, I have Texas A&M, all right? Here's why, all right? I am all aboard, choo-choo, all aboard the Texas A&M train. But this is the last time. This is the last time I trust you guys. Teams that I always trust that end up letting me down. Texas A&M, Oregon, Florida, except Florida won against Georgia, so thank you, Florida. This is the last time I'm on this Texas A&M train, but I'm all aboard. Kellen Mond, legit starting quarterback. He's top 10 in the country, if you ask me. He's been there for forever, and he's probably going to be back next year. Let's be honest, because this year doesn't count against eligibility. So Kellen Mond and Texas A&M, he's probably going to be back there. They have a legit running back in Isaiah Spiller. This guy's a stud. They have a great defense with Bobby Brown manning the defensive line. Their defense, one of the better units in the entire country. They have a win over a top 5 Florida team. And I have to put Texas A&M ahead of Florida, well, because they beat Florida. Same reason I have Notre Dame ahead of Clemson. And you're picking up what I'm throwing down. So I'm all aboard the Texas A&M train, but I swear to you, this is the last time, Texas A&M, you let me down again. I'm going to be disappointed. I'm banking on you guys making the playoff, and I think if y'all make the playoff, y'all can make a run. I think you're better than Ohio State. I had this argument with someone yesterday about, okay, who's a better quarterback, Justin Fields or Kellen Mond? Okay, let's give it to Justin Fields. Who's a better running back, Isaiah Spiller or Master Teague, Trey Sermon, whoever you want to go for Ohio State? Isaiah Spiller's better. Receivers, Ohio State probably has better receivers. Offensive line, I would give it to Texas A&M. Their offensive line is a legit unit. Defensive line, it's close. Both these teams have studs on the defensive line. Linebackers, it's Texas A&M, and secondary, it's Texas A&M. They're close, and Texas A&M has a better best win. I like to look at a team's best win mostly. So that's what I'm looking at for Texas A&M. That win over Florida is looking really, really good right now. For them to make it to the playoff, okay? Actually, let's go over 1 and 2, and then I'll talk about what each team is going to need to happen to make the playoff. At number 2, I have Notre Dame. Man, did they look good against Clemson back in that game. Man, did they look good. Kyron Williams, legit running back. Ian Book's a stud. They've got good receivers. Their offensive line is the best in the country. That's what people have been telling me. I'll just believe them. Their defense, a legit solid unit. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, their best linebacker. He is just a monster. He'll be taken in the first round of the NFL draft. Their best win against the number 1 team in the nation. I think that's pretty good. I have Notre Dame at 2. I love what they got going in South Bend. Do they have a playoff spot locked up? Are they locked for the playoff? I don't know. If they were to lose to Clemson in the ACC championship, which a lot of people are saying that they will, I don't know, because, okay, so one of Florida and Bama is going to have to lose, so that would help them out. One of Ohio, I don't know, it'll be tough for Notre Dame. And then at number 1, I have the Alabama Crimson Tide. This should come as a surprise for nobody. Beat Kentucky by 60 points yesterday. Yikes. Absolutely just drugged them up and down the field. They have a win over Texas A&M. They beat them by 28. Yeah, I'm not even going to fault that game against Texas A&M early in the season against the best team in the country. Not going to fault them for that. I think Bama's a million times better than Clemson. I just think they are. So Texas A&M against the number 1 team. Notre Dame against the number 1 team. I mean, what are you going to do? Notre Dame went out and won. Texas A&M got embarrassed, part of why Notre Dame's ahead of Texas A&M, but they have just been looking like the best team in the country. Mac Jones, legitimate Heisman contender. He would be second if I had to vote right now. Devonta Smith, stud receiver. Too bad Jalen Waddle's hurt. They'd really be contenders then. And their defense is still legit. They're going out and they're embarrassing teams. Their defense, though, got some questions there. Gave up, 50 points to Ole Miss? That was a while ago. I only gave up 3 to Kentucky, but it is Kentucky, so I don't know. But I think Bama is definitely the best team in the country. Now, honorable mentions. Let me just pop them into the picture here. We could just put them in for Northwestern now, even though Northwestern deserves to be there over this team. Oregon. Okay, they still have a chance to make the playoff. But for all my Funny Maine fans out there, struggle win. Yeah, they beat UCLA by a whopping 3 points. Spoiler alert, UCLA, not any good. So they still have some serious questions about their team. I would have them ranked 10, but Northwestern has impressed me more than they have. If they go undefeated and win the Pac-12, they might make the playoff, but who knows? All right, for Ohio State and Northwestern, this applies for Ohio State and Northwestern. This applies equally to both of you. You guys have to just win the rest of your games. A one-loss Big Ten team will not make the college football playoff. They just won't. Ohio State should win the rest of their games, and Northwestern should win the rest of their games. Northwestern, they play Michigan State this week. They're going to kill Michigan State. That's just a fact. And I think they should win the rest of their games. An undefeated Northwestern should match up against an undefeated Ohio State in the college football playoff. I mean, in the Big Ten championship game. And the winner of that game will have their spot boxed up, put them in the playoff. That's what they need. The same thing applies for Clemson and Notre Dame. I think the winner of that game is in, the loser is out. Yes, if Notre Dame loses, I think they're out because I I just think here's the problem for Notre Dame. And I don't think this is fair. I don't think it's fair, but it's what's going to happen. If they lose to Clemson, it doesn't matter how much they lose by, but let's say they lose by 14 plus. People are going to go, when they beat Clemson, they had the backup quarterback in, and this person was out, and this person was out, and this person had COVID, and that's why they won. They're not a legitimate top 14. That's what people are going to say. I don't think that's true. I think DJ Uwe, whatever bunch of 20 vowel last name, I love him. I think he's a stud. I think he's going to be a star at Clemson next year. Watch out for him. But that's what people are going to point to. So I think if Notre Dame loses that game, I think they're eliminated. And obviously, if Clemson loses, well, they've got 2 losses. So that is a playoff game. Florida and Alabama. It is an elimination game for Florida because if they lose, they'll have 2 losses. If Bama were to lose, I don't know. Would they drop out of the 4 spot? I don't think so. I think they would still be in just because they have a blowout win over a top 5 Texas A&M. They're rolling through the SEC. I just don't think you'd be able to kick them out. So let's just say you have a spot for Bama, you have a spot for Notre Dame, and you have a spot for Ohio State. Let's just put Ohio State at 3. I think Texas A&M has hit their ceiling in terms of how high they're going to be ranked. So here's what they're going to need to have. So here's what's going to need to happen, all right? For Oregon, they are going to need to run the table and go undefeated throughout the rest of the year. Same thing applies for BYU, Coastal, and Cincinnati. And the 4 spot is going to come down to these 5 teams: Texas A&M, Coastal, Cincinnati, Oregon, and BYU. This could also very well be USC. USC could go undefeated and beat Oregon, although I think Oregon's better than USC. And of those 5, who do I think would get in? I know who I would pick to get in. I'd pick Coastal to get in, but that's just me. I would pick Coastal Carolina because I think they would have the best resume out of those 5. But that's no one would say that. Sorry, Coastal, but you may have hit your ceiling. I hope you get in. I hope you do. It could go to Cincinnati or BYU, but I'm pretty sure they'd give it to Texas A&M. I think they would end up giving it to Texas A&M. But now you sort of understand what's going on, and there are still games to be played. Ohio State, I think if any Big Ten or Pac-12 team loses 1 game, you're done because you're not going to be playing enough games. Maybe Ohio State could rebound from a bad loss, but I don't know. I just don't think that any Big Ten or Pac-12 champ with 1 loss is going to get in. But if I had to pick what would happen in the college football playoff right now, here's what I think will happen. Bama will win the SEC. I think Notre Dame will beat Clemson. I think they will. I think they're a better team than Clemson. I just do. I think their defense is better. I think their O-line is better. I think DJ Uiagalelei, or however you say his name, I think he's just as good as Trevor Lawrence. That's like my number 1 hot take throughout the video. I just think he is. What's Trevor Lawrence's career high for passing yards? Like 400, and DJ threw for like 480 or something against Notre Dame. He's a stud. I think Notre Dame will beat Clemson a second time. I think Ohio State will beat Northwestern. As much as I want to see Northwestern win, I think Ohio State will beat Northwestern. And I think Texas A&M would get the respect that they deserve over Coastal, Cincy, BYU, and Oregon. If I had to pick right now, this would be my college football playoff. But these are my rankings right now. They are scheduled. They are definitely. These will change. There's no way Texas A&M gets higher than 3. This is their ceiling. They can only go down from here. I'm just saying, unless Bama and Notre Dame lose this week, which they both can. They both have tough opponents. We'll talk about that later. But that's that. So now let's get into the picks. All right, welcome to the actual picks part of the video. Hello to all of you who skipped, and hello to all of you who watched 20 minutes of me talking about my top 10. Hope you enjoyed. But we have some games to pick. Quite a few games that made the board this week. We have the Iron Bowl, the Egg Bowl, and we have the Iron Bowl, the Egg Bowl, the big game, the Civil War, and the Toilet Bowl. We'll talk about that one later on. I'm excited to talk about that one. That's just going to be just a lot of fun. But we have our featured games, Alabama and Notre Dame, both in action against some tough teams that maybe could knock them off and spoil their playoff hopes. Let's see if either one of those two teams can do that. Our first game is actually a ranked matchup between Iowa State and Texas, jockeying for position for the Big 12 championship. Every team in the Big 12 has 2 losses, but Iowa State actually only has 1 conference loss. I think they'll get their second conference loss at Texas, though. It's hard to win at Texas. I think they'll win that game. Cal and Stanford. A lot of people told me Cal was going to make a run of the Pac-12 championship. I don't think that's going to happen. But they play at Stanford. Huge rivalry in California between these two teams. It's called the Big Game. These two teams hate each other. I like Cal a little bit better. I think they're going to win this one. Another huge rivalry that means a lot for both of these schools, Oregon and Oregon State. I'm going to take Oregon, but I think Oregon State holds this close. Oregon State, not a very good team. But their season relies on winning this game. You know, they're not competing for a national championship or a bowl game. They want to win this game. They're going to come out and play their absolute hardest in this game. I think they give Oregon a tough run, but I think Oregon will win. Ohio State and Illinois. I'm going to take Ohio State big. It's at Champaign, which may give Illinois a little bit of an advantage, but I do think Ohio State's going to win. You like my score prediction, 45-5? Didn't someone drop only 5 points on Ohio State? Like Miami of Ohio, they scored exactly 5 at one point. I'm going to go with an obscure score for this one. Why not? Let's have some fun. Florida hosting Kentucky. Kentucky just got thrashed by Alabama 63-3. Wow. Wow, yeah, Florida will do the same thing to them. Tulsa going on the road to play Houston. If you guys did not watch the Tulsa-Tulane game on Thursday, you guys missed possibly the game of the year. Tulsa ranked number 25, first time ranked in forever for their program. Great thing for them to be ranked. And they were struggling with Tulane. They had no answer for the Tulane defense. They were on 14-0 at one point in that game. And then eventually they crawled back. It was 21-14, but they needed a Hail Mary to tie the game. And they actually got the Hail Mary prayer, sending the game to overtime. And in overtime, Tulane got the ball first, and their linebacker intercepted it at the 10-yard line and ran it 90 yards back to the house. I'm sorry for you guys that missed that game. I think they should have no problems with Houston. Oh, possibly my favorite game of the week. My 2 most hated teams. There's no college football teams I hate more than these 2. Michigan and Penn State, and they are both terrible. Michigan with their miracle double overtime win against Rutgers. Congratulations to Michigan. I know that's like a program-defining win for you guys. So congrats on that. Penn State, how many games have y'all won this year? That's right, 0. Penn State is just a dumpster fire. Who'd they lose to last year? Y'all got ran over by Illinois. Illinois. Jeez. Give me Michigan. Michigan's bad, but they're not that bad. Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers, have clinched the Sun Belt Eastern Division title, or they're most likely going to win it. They would have to lose twice, and App State would have to win it. I don't think they're losing twice. Texas State, one of the worst teams in all of the Power 5. They got their first win last week. Congrats. Coastal Carolina, big. Pitt on the road at Clemson. What was the last time Pitt played at Clemson? Didn't Nathan Peterman and James Conner pull off an upset on you guys? Yeah, I think they did. I think this game will be close. I've liked what I've seen from Pitt this year. And Clemson, I'm not a huge fan of them this year. I think Clemson will win, but Pitt will hold it close. Northwestern traveling to East Lansing to play my Michigan State Spartans. Michigan State is a terrible team. They're not going to win. But, hey, I said if there's ever a season where Michigan State wins one game, I want it to be against Michigan. Well, looks like that's going to happen this year, ain't it? Yeah, it is. I think Northwestern should have no problems with their stout defense. Michigan State just cannot move the ball. USC and Colorado. Colorado is actually undefeated. They actually Colorado technically has a chance to make the playoff if they go undefeated, but I don't think that no one thinks Colorado is going to do that. I think USC should have no problems at home. Cincinnati on the road to face Temple. Temple's always been a pretty good team that gives people problems, but I think Cincinnati should win pretty easily. The Egg Bowl between Ole Miss and Mississippi State. These two teams, their entire season rides on beating the other. Remember I said, Michigan State has one win, want to be against Michigan. That's what these two teams have against each other. They hate each other down there. Neither one of these teams has ever been a perennial national contender, but it's always about beating the other one. One of the most fierce rivalries in all of college football. I'm going to give this one to Mike Leach and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Ole Miss. So Mississippi State, breaking news to y'all who didn't know, they don't run the ball. They only throw the ball every play. They run the air raid or whatever kind of middle school offense they're running. Ole Miss, man, they cannot stop a nosebleed. Cannot stop a nosebleed on defense. Their defense is it's terrible. They give up like 60 points a game, but they've been outscoring teams that will. I think Mississippi State's defense is just going to do enough to hold on in the end. I think that they're going to win this game. LSU and Texas A&M, love Texas A&M on that train with Kellen Mond, Isaiah Spiller, Bobby Brown. I think that they should have no problems with LSU. LSU not very good this year for y'all who didn't know. So I think that Texas A&M should be all right here. I'm going to pick West Virginia over Oklahoma. It's one of my upsets. West Virginia actually has like a top 5 defense in the country when it comes to scoring defense or whatever. I think they're going to shut down Spencer Rattler in Oklahoma. I don't know. I don't like Oklahoma that much. I think West Virginia is going to be able to shut them down, and with Oklahoma's piss poor defense, they should be able to score just enough points to win. And Nevada, congrats. Let's give a round of applause to Nevada. 5-0, the Wolfpack are. 5-0. Congrats, Nevada. And I think you got another one coming at Hawaii. Maybe they can be ranked. They should be ranked. Are they ranked in the AP poll? I can't remember. But Nevada, they should be ranked 5-0. Congrats. I think they should be able to beat Hawaii. Now, let's do the Iron Bowl next. Now, is Auburn a great national champion contending team this year? No. They are not. Is Bama? Yes, of course they are. They're that every year. You guys know the deal with Alabama. I think Auburn is going to have a chance in this game. Last year, they beat Alabama in this same sort of scenario. No one was giving Auburn much of a chance. Who was Alabama's quarterback that game? Yeah, Mac Jones. Mac Jones he's definitely a lot better this year than he was last year. I do think Auburn will have a chance in this game. If their defense shows up to play, I think they'll score their fair share against Alabama's defense because it's not that great. It's pretty good, but they have shown some major flaws. I think Auburn will hang around in this game. I'd pick Auburn to cover if I was betting on this game. I just think Alabama, Nick Saban, and the Crimson Tide will be too much near the end of the game. I'm going to take Alabama 31-24. Next, we have Notre Dame and North Carolina. Now, if Notre Dame were to lose this game, it would not knock them out of playoff contention. However, it would severely hurt their hopes because if they lose this game, that would essentially make the ACC championship an elimination game, which if Notre Dame were to finish the season undefeated, you can make a case where if they lose, they wouldn't drop past 4. I hope y'all are picking up what I'm throwing down. So North Carolina, they want to win this game. Trust me, you want to win every game, but they're going to want this one over a top 5 team. North Carolina, very good in their own right. They were ranked in the top 5 of their own earlier in the year. North Carolina's been a really streaky team. They went out. Who did they beat? They were beating some really good teams that are ranked number 4 or 5 at one point in the nation. And then they went out and lose to Florida State and then you lost to Virginia. But they've looked better in the last 2 weeks, and they found themselves back in the top 25. I think this game's going to be close. And I think that this is going to be high scoring because North Carolina's offense might be top 10 in the country. That's how good their offense is with Sam Howell and company. They've been scoring 50 points a game. It's just their defense cannot stop anything. What did they give up? 56-something points to Wake? Yeah, their defense is suspect. North Carolina will hang around in this game, but their defense, I think, will just let them down near the end. I just think Notre Dame's going to be just scoring at will. North Carolina's offense will do all they can to keep up. This will be a high-scoring shootout, but I think the Irish come away with a win in the late game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you tomorrow's NFL picks. And Wednesday is the big marathon stream for the start of college basketball. Cole Adams will be there. Luke will be there. Redbirds will probably be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll see you guys there.